Topless model known as Jordan joins us now, as does the author of The Beauty Myth, Naomi Wolf. Katie Price, you've had several boob jobs. What would your advice be, particularly in light of this great alarm? What would your advice be to the average 18-year-old?
If I had it my way, I think there should be an age limit for a start. I think they should up it to 21. I had my first boob job when I was 18, and realistically, I think that's a bit too young.
But you don't counsel against it. You don't say it's a risky procedure.
I think any procedure is risky. Of course it is. You're going under the knife, it's anaesthetic, and I think people should know whether it's a boob job or any cosmetic surgery, if you're going under the knife, it's a big risk.
Have they made you happy?
Have they? I've had bad experiences with it, and I was recommended to what I thought was the best doctor. And it's not always the case that you go to the best doctor, you're going to get the best boob job. It's all about your body, how your body takes to... You know, at the end of the day, having implants, it's foreign. Anything foreign you put in your body can naturally reject it. So people do have problems with, you know, like anything. But no, I would say I'm happy with them. I should be now, I've had enough done.
I was going to say, to keep on changing, presumably you weren't happy with how they were.
Well, no, because the trouble is, I don't know about you ladies, how many boob jobs you've had, but when I first had my implants, I always knew I wanted them bigger. So it took me 3 sizes to get to the size I wanted. If they'd done the size I wanted in the beginning, I would have been happy.
Then you made them smaller, didn't you?
Because I'd had 3 kids, and anyone, even if you've got natural boobs, they drop. So I redone them smaller. But that was my choice.
How did we get to this stage where women are changing their body shape to make themselves happier?
I mean, it's 2 different things. We can talk about the pressures on women to fit into a one-size-fits-all ideal of beauty, but women have been lied to, and the women in this room have been lied to, and they've been lied to by people who are supposed to represent them. And it breaks my heart because, you know, there's 25 years of data, which if you don't know this, I respectfully don't think you're in the right job, confirming that these breast implants...
You're addressing these comments to the minister?
Yeah, of course I am.
She's in the wrong job, yeah.
Well, if she doesn't know this, and, you know, millions of other people around the world know it, and it's been reported in major newspapers, and I wrote a book about it in 1993 that was reported in, you know, every major media outlet in Britain, and the Food and Drug Administration in the United States outlawed silicone breast implants because they were giving women exactly the kinds of problems that you ladies are suffering from, which breaks my heart. Autoimmune disorders, lupus-like symptoms, you know, anxiety, jitters, you know, diabetes-like symptoms, inflammation, swelling, ruptures. You know, I'm not a scientist, right? You said you're not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I wrote The Beauty Myth when I was 26 years old. I'm an English major. But I saw in British medical journals that the same advertisers who were selling breast implants to doctors to put in your bodies were also being sold insurance because they were being advised there's a 30 to 70% rupture rate. So you need to order these in multiples because they're going to rupture in the bodies of women. But women's magazines that you were reading, that I was reading, were saying, it's like changing your dress. There are no real complications. And people like you should have been telling the truth, and you should tell the truth now.
I am telling the truth, actually. I slightly resent that. But as Katie says, you know, any operation carries a risk, and having something inserted.
You said there's no data proving that there are...
what's really important is that we're going to have a review of the whole cosmetic industry
and cosmetic
interventions.
25 years of data already.
No, well, I know.
We have breast surgery, we're in this because we have PIP implants put in our body that should never have been here.
Talking about a wider point that she feels that there's been data around. I'm certainly not lying, I'm telling you what I know today.
Silicone migrates in the human body and causes these problems.
Yeah, we wasn't informed about that. If other countries are aware of that, it doesn't make any sense.
Naomi, given what we know you believe about, female beauty...
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Sorry, no, I'm not talking about silicone implants here, or I am talking about silicone implants, but I'm not talking about the medical consequences. I'm talking about your beliefs about women's body shapes and what women do to their bodies to conform to ideas of beauty. What do you make of these women?
I think these women made very reasonable decisions based on what they knew and based on experiences and pressures that they were having, in which people they trusted, like their government, you know, you heard this woman on your documentary say, I can't believe the government would allow something that could cause terrible health problems to be put into my body. These Harley Street doctors are making millions of pounds lying to women about the risks and complications.
You would say if it makes them happy, and they did it because they wanted to feel better about themselves or the predicament in which they found themselves, if cosmetic surgery makes them feel better about themselves, makes them happy, That's all right, is it?
I think a woman should be free to do whatever she wants with her body, but I also think women are not children, and they deserve real answers and real information. And I also know that there's a double standard. You don't have major industries putting dangerous, proven to rupture 30 to 70% rates into men's devices, into men's bodies that are unregulated. There would be a huge outcry. People would lose their jobs.
Katie
Heads
Price,
would roll.
did you
Women
feel-
are treated like guinea pigs in our medical culture, and it's
did
not
you
acceptable.
Feel, Katie Price, did you feel under pressure to have the changes to your body that you made?
No, even when I was at school, I remember being 16, I went to Transform and said I wanted bigger boobs. I wore the pads in the bra. I'm sure you girls have
But
as
why
well.
did
We've
you
all been
do
through it.
that?
I don't know, I've always wanted bigger boobs. They were small for me. They were like a B, which is probably the perfect size, they said. But I knew I wanted bigger boobs.
Well,
they wouldn't
why?
do it. They said, come back when you're 18. It's just me. I didn't do it for my job. People got to remember, I did page 3, natural. And I remember they had a debate. When I said I'm going to get my boobs done, the Sun done a public debate whether I should get them done, and the high percentage said don't do it. But I still went and had it done because I did it for me. I didn't care about anyone else. If I want it done, I'll do it.
When you say, you must have thought about this a bit more, when you say you did it for you...
So I wanted bigger boobs. I just
But why
thought
did you
in
want bigger
clothes I'd
boobs?
feel better. They do feel better. But people got to remember, you don't have to have big boobs. Some people are happy just to have them lifted. You know, time of the month, they change.
I think it's quite interesting what Naomi raised about it just being a women's issue, because I don't think it is. And what I've heard in doing this is that there are young men having pec implants, there are young men having testicular implants. You might have had a nip and a tuck, Jeremy, for all we know.
Not yet,
And
that was a neat one.
And actually, there is quite a lot of pressure on young men, which I think is being a little bit ignored, actually. And young men, sort of 16, 17-year-olds, are taking body-enhancing drugs and going to the gym. And so I think this is something that's actually crossing all the genders now.
I mean, I have to, you know, I'm sorry, forgive me. The journalist in me cannot bear that you're not giving these women a straight answer about what your government is going to do to pay for the consequences and health problems they're suffering because the government lied to them and didn't engage in proper regulatory behavior. And again, you misrepresented, I'm sorry to hold you to the spot, but you told them on national television there is no evidence, and that is a lie. Either you don't know or it's a lie, and I think you need to be accountable for what you say.
I have to be, I take huge offence to you saying that I'm lying, because I can only tell you the best evidence that I've got. I don't know something.
Food and Drug
if I knew
Administration,
something,
big
if
country
I
across
knew
the Atlantic.
something, if I knew something that I wasn't saying today, I would say it.
Are you
I'm not.
aware, Anne, are you aware the Food and Drug Administration of the United States of America outlawed silicone breast implants because of the health problems they were causing in women?
I,
What tests have you done to ensure that these are safe?
That's a very
to be
good
left in our
question.
bodies?
okay, so I rely
That's a
on
very
the
good
evidence
question.
that
Could you
we're
answer the
given.
question? 'Cause last time I asked you, you didn't
no,
answer.
That's a good question. They deserve an answer to that question. One test, 10 tests?
They do,
50?
and I can give them that, and there's a whole
Right
body
now,
of
why don't you give it to them now?
Because Naomi, I don't have it on me
Well,
right
then you're
now.
underprepared.
Because there are
There hasn't
scientists.
been any tests.
All I
that's
can
why.
tell you right now is that the information that I have, and I have this information, I'm not lying to you, is that at the moment there is no evidence to suggest. Because
I'm sure
what I am
let's
saying,
your age
if
should be
Naomi
watching.
is
Your age
raising all
text
sorts of
you
other issues,
the
and I
data.
will look into that. What's quite interesting is I haven't heard from her before now.
Can I just ask, can I say something?
If
I knew
everyone's
something-
talking, hang on a second, please. If everyone's talking at once, we can't hear anybody. Let's consider what effect this particular event is likely to have upon the desire of people like these women here, or Katie, to change their appearance. Would it make you think twice about ever having the procedure again?
Well, like I say, you know, I'm sympathetic with these girls because, you know, I'm touch wood, mine aren't PIP implants, and as far as I know, they're fine. But anything you put in your body that is foreign, there's always a risk because it's not natural. And people should know that. But in their case, you know, I'm...
making me crazy.
But do you think people will be put off?
I think they'd be put off what they hear, but then, you know, they go somewhere where they're not PIP implants, they'll be like, oh, I'll be fine again. So it's always going to...
Can I make an analogy?
Yeah, go on.
I mean, this is just torturing me because, you know, in 1993, you could see, and, you know, I was warning everyone in Britain, you know, these things are going to rupture, and here are the problems. So bear with me. I have an implant in my lower back. It's a medical device, and it's been through rigorous testing. And I said yes to the implant because I was assured that it was not going to go
believe
bad in 5 years
Yeah.
and leak,
Yeah.
you know, garbage into my body that would give me
Yeah.
lupus and autoimmune dysfunction. So these women didn't get the
What
kind of
we
rigorous. It's not
requested,
enough, with all due
yeah.
respect, to say, oh, anything you put in your body is going to go bad.
Okay,
People
let
put
me
all
say
kinds of
something.
medical devices in their bodies that have been tested, and you know, when something goes wrong, people are accountable. There are lawsuits. You know, government ministers, you know, show up to say this. We're pulling this from the market because people are, you know, getting ill. People are suffering, and it is, you know, over and over again. It is women's bodies and women's health where that it's like, oh, poor you. Let's empathize with you, but not do anything concrete.
When
to
I
address
saw
your
when I
problems.
saw my surgeon and he gave me the implant, he even gave me pins and he said, right, put the pins in, squeeze it, and squeeze it, and nothing came out. I punched it and I threw it on the floor. I did all of this because I was, but I was paranoid, thinking I want to know what's going on, if it's safe. And he said, you'll probably be dead by the time if you actually burst that implant, that impact.
He lied to you.
But why, when I put a pin in it, then loads of pins, and I squeezed it, and it didn't leak. So as far as I'm concerned, then that's fine.
All right.
Why is that right or wrong?
We're going to leave it there.
down the
Thank you all very much.
exterior.
Thanks. Now, anyone expect